Happy Halloween, everybody. This is Chase Petiche. I am the host of Fempowered Moon Astrology, and this is our Halloween bi-monthly update. This full moon, we have a full moon in Taurus, directly opposing Scorpio, Sun in Scorpio. And this full moon is highlighted because it has strong Uranian influence. Uranus is the planet of rebellion, individuality, innovation, futurism, revolution, and it is 1 degree away from the moon during this full moon. So not only is it Halloween, the day of All Hallows Eve, the day hallows meaning to make holy or sacred, to sanctify, consecrate, or venerate. A night day of venerating the dead, the time of the year when the veil is thin, when the seasons are changing, when the strength of the sun begins to wane, and therefore the shadows become more visible, and that which lives in the shadows. This is Scorpio season. The sun is in Scorpio, Scorpio being the ruler of the underworld, the mystical, communication with spirits, the dead, very, the dark shadow energies. And what we're talking about here is we're not talking about, bad when we talk about shadow. We're talking about that which is in the subconscious, the things that kind of lie beyond what we see in our material reality, what we believe is real. When the veil becomes thin, what begins to happen is things that we had not necessarily noticed, seen, paid attention to, the things that were kind of dormant under the surface, the things that are in the shadow start to come out. They have room because the light is not as bright, condensing our materiality. It begins to wane, and therefore other things can begin to play. So this moon is a full moon in Taurus. Taurus is a fixed earth sign. It is, this sign of the zodiac that really is like the energy of the divine feminine. It's all about the senses, sensual pleasures. It's really about pleasure and receptivity, enjoying oneself on a deeper level. I'm always about the deeper levels of things. And so the deeper level, I believe Taurus really is about worth, value. And of course, what that essentially means is how we value ourselves, right? How worthy do we feel? How worthy do we feel to actually exist? So with this Uranian influence, what this is doing, your Uranus is, like I said, what it's doing is creating this kind of fusion, because really what Taurus is it kind of represents life. It's the fixed earth sign. It represents materiality. It represents beauty. All of the things about earth that are incredibly beautiful. It represents life. So to have it blend with Uranus, which is really this energy around individuality, individualism, what that really represents is how do we actually feel like we have a right to live? Do we actually feel like we have a right to live? Because what this is doing is it's really asking you to begin to value your individuality. What does that mean? It means, how can I break the rules and begin to follow my own path? It means, what do I actually feel to be right for me? Because right now, currently, in our current climate of our systems dissolving, of our, massive old school patriarchal bureaucracies kind of, dwindling, we have a pendulum that kind of is going in the other way, all these different ways. And what I've been noticing is that it seems like, there's this transfer that seems to be happening between like the left and right and left. And it's like almost the left is becoming like the right is becoming like the left. There's all this dogma. There's all this authoritarianism. There's all this very intense. The bottom line of it is this kind of programming of what people should believe, how we should act, how much fear we should hold, what we actually believe, our own sense of, what kind of right to life we actually have at this point in time during the coronavirus. And what this Uranus moon is actually asking you to do, it's asking you to like scratch all that and start to really be able to think for your freaking self. Now, this could be controversial because obviously we have people telling us what to believe. What I am finding with my own self, what I've noticed around me, is that it's gotten to such an extreme that I've noticed that family members and friends have almost all but eliminated their own right to live. Like, meaning their fear of what mainstream media authorities and authority figures of governments and things are telling them has almost all but diminished their actual belief in their right to live, which means that their fear has become so intense and so great that they believe that there is almost the chi of their life, which is Taurus energy, right? This worth, this value of your own life is dwindling. So, I really think that right now we have this, we've had this Jupiter, Pluto Saturn conjunction that started 2020 off, the shit show that has been 2020, right? Then we had Jupiter up in the mix, just expanding everything. All of those were in retrograde up until this month. So this month, all of those planets have now gone direct. Because what we had when 2020 started, they were all moving, and then they all kind of like collided together, and then they all went backwards, colliding again, literally with Pluto in there, just scrubbing all of this shit out. The planet of Pluto is the planet which rules Scorpio, which is the planet of death, annihilation, and rebirth. Rebirth, people. Rebirth. Obviously, we're going through a very big death period right now, but we're also going through a massive rebirth period. And that's what I want everybody to start focusing on. Everybody to start getting their energy into what is the rebirth within the self, because all of this astrology, it's really all about ourselves. It's about how we are reacting to all of this stuff. And the Uranian energy is like, fuck all y'all. I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to do what's right for me. I'm going to do what feels right because I am connected and I am in tune and I am authentically following what feels right. So the, questions that you can begin to ask yourself, how can I live more fully? What would it actually look like for me to leave the tribe? That is the essence, the deepest essence of Uranus and Aquarian energy, which is why it rules innovation, genius, forward thinking, futurism, because the tribal energy is what keeps us together. It's what keeps us safe, right? But it also is what squashes our individualism, our individuality, our sense of self, because when we're really individuals, it's very hard to be in a tribe. It's very hard to find, that's what I've struggled with my whole life, is trying to find a tribe, because I'm just a freaking weirdo and I always end up offending somebody, right? So, but what would it actually look like? Because this really is, the most powerful thing that any one human can do. And it's like the ultimate path and power to reclaiming your authentic truth and soul, which is essentially what will bring about the ultimate happiness and love and self-love on the planet, okay? So what would it look like for me? Whatever tribe you have been a part of, okay? Whether it's like the news tribe, whether it's the church tribe, whether it's if there is something within you, which this full moon is so powerful on Halloween. So freaking powerful that, it's really, really, really provoking us on this day when we get to dress up as anything we want, right? It's like the Halloween is the day where things actually come out of us that have been in the dark, right? The day where we can dress up whatever we want. Every year I dress up as some sort of alter ego. Usually it's a man of some sort, but this year it's going to be, I think I'm thinking about a cult leader or something, just something really stupid. But just things within ourselves that are kind of dormant, that we kind of want to just exaggerate, that are funny, that are fun, right? And it's kind of like, but there's this like area, there's like this thing of truth in it, right? Like I obviously have a lot of masculine energy, and for me, it's like this release when I get to dress up like a man and like embody that for a night. But what would it be like that we're getting this energy on All Hallows Eve, the night where the spirits come out, where the night where we get to sanctify? What would it look like for us to begin to use this energy to embody it in our lives in a deeper way, where we can start saying, okay, I'm going to let myself for this one night kind of open up, loosen my own kind of gears to what I believe is right, and begin to kind of play with what actually feels right. Because there's what we think is right, and then there's what feels right. And what I have been finding during this entire thing, that it seems to go on and on and on during this 2020, 2021 shit show, right, is that I keep seeing all these, things that are telling me what is right, but it's not what I actually feel is right. And so I'm having to go very deep within the self and really, really, really start to tune in to what is right for me. So what I want to say here on All Hallows Eve, which Hallow is the saint or the holy person, is actually, what if this Hallows Eve, you actually sanctified yourself, consecrated, venerated. And I'm not talking about your ego. I'm not saying like, yeah, I look great and I'm gonna go out in this costume and I'm the best. No, I'm talking about like, I am consciousness. I'm talking about the veneration of the awareness of consciousness, because what you are at your core is God. You are God. And what if at this Hallows Eve, you started to consecrate, venerate, and make holy that energy within? What would happen if we started valuing the life, the consciousness, the energy within ourselves, this power that we have, this authentic, beautiful, creative energy that lies within us, and we started to venerate that, we started to pray to that? So for me, and this is what I just want to give you guys all permission to do this Halloween, because I've been feeling like the veil is real thin these days, and I just like feel like I want to be at my altar, like nighttime, like I live in the desert, and all of a sudden everything just shifted, and like there's like just wind and cold, and the light is lighter, and I just feel I feel the spirits, I feel the energies, and I just feel so called to go to my altar at night. And I've been reinvigorating my prayer practice. And it's really been assisting me in kind of just grounding myself into a deeper, kind of owning my own spiritual power as that consciousness beyond the I am, the consciousness of my awareness, the awareness of my consciousness, the eternal energy that resides within, and beginning to harness, cultivate, bow, and venerate that energy and use it. So the things that really help me deeply are, freaking prayer. Prayer is like such a powerful tool when used in a very grounded, deep way that is holy and sacred. And I'm not talking about any kind of religious prayer here. I'm talking about your own authentic connection to something greater than yourself, the consciousness within, the God within, beginning to acknowledge that, beginning to revere that. As we begin to kind of hold our own life, that Taurus energy, as we begin to hold on to that energy, revere it within ourselves and revere it around us. But what naturally begins to happen is we begin to allow ourselves to follow what actually feels right for us in our lives to follow, which may mean during this time, as all of these systems, so like I said, the Pluto, Jupiter, Saturn energy is now going direct. And then we have this Uranian power on the Halloween, which is basically like, motherfuckers, think for yourselves. Start thinking for yourselves, okay? Get in your own individual God consciousness that has your own creative source, authentic, powerful energy that it yearns to express in this lifetime, and begin to embody and allow the courage within and the courage to come forth to express that energy. Because honestly, that is what is going to save us all, is for you to begin to allow yourself to powerfully express what is authentically yours to express in this lifetime. So what we have also assisting us, like I said, is Scorpio, the Scorpio energy, because the moon is directly opposing Scorpio. And what that means is that there is a real power, regenerative. Scorpio rules the deepest regenerative power of the universe. Really, it rules death and rebirth. And that's like something, okay, yeah, death and rebirth. But arguably, it rules the power to release and let go. Because you have to be able to release and let go in order for something new to emerge fully, which means to let something die within the self, which means to let these energies within the self that are in the process of dying, really dwindling, dissolving. There is an energy within us. I feel it within me. I mean, I've gone through massive changes the past 2 months, massive freaking changes. I've, found my life partner, he moved in. I feel this deep awakening, but what it's causing me to do is it's just wearing and tearing and pushing and then just plowing through my ego. My ego is just like, okay, take a freaking side, lay down, motherfucker. And now I'm like, okay, what really wants to come through? What is authentically coming through? And it's a new energy. It's this energy, this energy to be able to surrender that piece of the self is honestly what makes for the highest amount of power, because what you are doing is you're taking responsibility for every single thing in your life. And you're saying no thing and no one has power over me. And you're taking absolute responsibility. You're bringing awareness to all your ego patterns, and you're tuning into the God consciousness behind it, and you're allowing yourself to release it so that you can become more fully in tune with who you actually are in this lifetime. And that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling it hard. So destruction and resurrection brings the highest amount of spiritual power. Allowing what wants to die to go. That is what let go means. Allow something. There is the flow. There is love. There is consciousness. There is expansion. It is the spiral. It is how the galaxies move, right? It's constantly expanding. There is a flow, everybody. There is this flow, and it's within us. And it's constantly challenging us to let go and expand. And it's so uncomfortable, but it's absolutely, when owned and allowed, fully allowed, is what brings the highest amount of spiritual power and the ultimate fulfillment of potential in this life. So I hope this helped, and I love you all, and happy Halloween. It's my favorite time of year. So great. So great. You can just feel the spirits. You can feel it all. It feels so good. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful week, and take it easy. Contact me if you have any questions. info@chasepetiche.com. I love you all. Peace.